With this talk, I will consider and discuss the presence of a certain psychiatric lexicon in the Italian fiction between the 18th and 20th, between the 19th and 20th centuries. Whereas the connections between modernism and psychoanalysis have been under critical scrutiny for some time and are acknowledged as important to the formation of both modernism and psychoanalysis, the influence of classical psychiatry on literature maybe has not been sufficiently investigated, except for some very remarkable cases such as Flaubert and Zola. We can just think of the great treatise of Emil Kraepelin. Kraepelin who was a German psychiatrist, is specifically credited with the classification of what was previously considered to be a unitary concept, psychosis, into two distinct forms that Kraepelin called manic depression and dementia precox. He developed the concept of dementia precox, which he defined as the subacute development of a peculiar simple condition of mental weakness occurring at a youthful age. This concept is the same of schizophrenia. Bloyle will call it schizophrenia. His famous treatise is the Lehrbuch der Psychiatrie, whose first edition was published in 1883. Sorry. In Italy, we must at least mention a few examples, such as Carlo Livi and then Enrico Morselli. You see another treatise, Manuale di Semeiotica delle malattie mentali, and Eugenio Tanzi, Trattato delle malattie mentali. But however, the most interesting and controversial figure was certainly Cesare Lombroso. That is worldwide famous. You can read many recent books in some languages, in French, in English. There is a monography, I think, published by Routledge in 2013, I think. Well, it's an object, a subject of study yet today. Cesare Lombroso was a physician and a psychiatrist, and also known for being the founder of what is called criminology. Lombroso tried to discern a possible relationship between criminal psychopathology and physical defects. His chief contention was the existence of a atavistic hereditary class of criminals who are in effect biologically linked to a more primitive stage of the human evolution. Lombroso contended that such criminals exhibit a higher percentage of physical and mental anomalies than do non-criminal persons. Among these anomalies, which he termed stigmata, there were various unusual skull sizes, asymmetry of the facial bones, too long arms, things like that. Lombroso theories were widely influential in Europe for a while, but his emphasis on hereditary causes of crime was later strongly rejected in favor of other factors. Lombroso was translated into many languages, including English, French, and German, and influenced many literary works. Some of them explicitly quote him or imply the knowledge of his theories, though not their acceptance. You can find them in Zola, in Tolstoy, in Conrad. The Italian author who had the deepest relationship with Lombroso was surely Carlo Dossi. Carlo Dossi was a curious Italian diplomat, important diplomat, who wrote his books in the first part of his life, that's to say, in the last decades of the 19th century. We'll talk about him soon, in a few minutes. Well, today we will not address the relationship between psychiatry and literature as such, but we will focus on the presence of psychiatric lexicon vocabulary in the literary text. To do this, we will take into account two authors in particular, Carlo Dossi, whom we just mentioned, and I don't know how much Dossi is known outside Italy. Anyway, he was the principal figure of the so-called scapigliatura lombarda. It was a sort of Italian bohème in the north. It was not at all a bohemian from biographical point of view, but it was from a stylistic point of view, it's scapigliato. The other author is Carlo Emilio Gadda, possibly the best Italian prose writer of the 20th century, author of at least two masterpieces, La cognizione del dolore, knowledge of pain, and Quel pasticciaccio brutto di Via Merulana, that awful mess of Via Merulana. And of course, also of the strange text we mostly talk about today, that is Eros e Priapo. But let's talk about Carlo Dossi. By taking a look to the production of Carlo Dossi, every now and then it is possible to find some technical terms taken from the field of medical science and just a few others coming from psychiatry. You see, for example, eretismo nervoso, which was very frequent in 19th century Italian psychiatry. This comes from Dal calamaio di un medico, that is a book by Dossi. However, the most remarkable influence of psychiatry on Dossi's work appears to be a strange book which illustrates, sometimes with the support of images too, some among the most bizarre projects for the monument to Vittorio Emanuele II, the king who had united Italy. Well, the monument actually built is the famous Vittoriano.
You cannot ignore it if you want.
No, you cannot. It is horrible, I think you can say it, and maybe some of these mad projects were better than the one actually built. But this book dates before the construction of the monument. Dossi would give a look to these projects. The influence of psychiatry is evident from the title itself, that is, you can see i mattoidi al primo concorso, contest, per il monumento in Roma a Vittorio Emanuele II. The book is explicitly dedicated to Cesare Lombroso, and the word mattoidi is surely a neologism created by Lombroso himself. It's not quite sure when we can position the first attestation of the word mattoidi. In this instance, even recent lexicography is not accurate. Some dictionaries attribute it to other authors, even to Doss himself in this title, but no one put it before 1981. But we have to go back at least to 1877. This is the first sure attestation of the word. It is in a famous book by Cesare Lombroso, that is Genio e Follia, Genius and Madness. But maybe before that we can be sure that it's not impossible that there is an attestation, a previous attestation in journals, for instance. The term is then assimilated into other languages as an Italianism. You can see the Oxford Dictionary definition. It's matto, mad, plus oide, that means similar to, and it means half mad and half sane, half normal. This is, of course, an English translation of another book, Man of Genius is another book by Lombroso. This is one of the first attestations in that book, ma per quei cotali, che io chiamerò mattoidi letterari, eccetera, mentre i primi sono poeti, scienziati veri, real scientists, costoro invece sono pseudo-letterati, pseudo-scienziati, pseudo-scientists, e così anche pazzi incompleti, incomplete mad. In Dossi's book, Ematoidi, etc., you can read things that, of course, refer to Lombroso. Pochi avvertirono, nessuno dei critici nostri si occupò del contingente enorme che il cretinismo, other typical word by Lombroso, e la pazzia hanno dato il primo concorso per il monumento al defunto sovrano. Concentrando sui bozzetti mattoidi, i caratteri con i quali essi distinguono sia tutta prima sono in generale il subisso di simboli e di allegorie, many symbols, allegories, la spropositata prolissità del commento che li accompagna le confidenze affatto personali, affatto estranee al soggetto che l'autore ci favorisce. This is the description of these projects. Unfortunately, I have not read the book because there are also the jokes, but it was too heavy. Se non che le frontiere tra la mediocrità e il cretinismo, come quelle tra queste la follia, tra la follia e il genio, non sono così precise e distinte da togliere ogni pericolo di sconfinamento a chi volesse esclusivamente occuparsi dell'uno o dell'altro tema. The references to the categories genius and madness and the implied definition itself of mattoide show that Dossi consciously decided to use a psychiatric concept and precisely the Lombroso's one. You can read also. Non intendiamo affatto dire che gli autori dei progetti da noi esaminati siano interamente pazzi, completely mad. Qui non si parla che di mattoidi, etc. Even though Dossi's admiration for Lombroso was partial, this could be considered also a sort of tribute to Lombroso. Nobody had a quiet relationship with Lombroso. The influence of Lombroso was always controversial, but this is a case where there is certainly also something like a tribute. Well, as I did say before, the other subject of this lecture and the one that I will discuss for the rest of the lecture is Gadda, and particularly a book that is Eros e Priapo. Gadda always paid special attention to the vocabulary of science technique, particularly the psychiatric and psychoanalytic lexicon, always used with the usual semantic freedom, represents one of the most relevant ingredients of his style, especially within some territories of his production. We can think about the use that is inspired from Freud's use, but not with the same meaning of narcisismo. I haven't here, narcissism. Gadda prefers the French-like form narcissico, narcissic, in Eros e Priapo. So he is influenced by Freud, but as we see, this influence is not primary if we think to the classical psychiatry. Eros a Priap has been written in 1945, 44, 45, and published only in 1967 in a cut and censored version, little or nothing revised by the author. Now we have an edition of the original manuscript, the one that we can date 1944-45. This edition is maybe one of the most important events in Italian philology in the last years. It's a very difficult, controversial one also for a lot of reasons that I can explain here, and I cannot explain here now. Anyway, what is Eros e Priapo? It is a sort of pamphlet against Mussolini and against fascism, but first of all against Mussolini. Psychiatry and psychoanalysis offer a lot of lexical material and some conceptual categories. It could be said that psychoanalytical categories are somehow crafted on a basis of classical psychiatry, but this is a difficult and controversial issue. There's been discussion on it. This weird treatise has a linguistic dominant from a phonetic and morphological point of view, which is vernacular Florentine. So it is not easy to read, to comprehend, even for Italian native speaker reader. The model, the principle, the main model is certainly Machiavelli, the language of Machiavelli. Anyway, that's typical of Gadda. There is an abundant presence of other languages, other codes, and also of medical and psychiatric vocabulary. You can see some medical terms, not all, only some. Acromegalico, amygdala, asthenia. This has been turned in English by the corrector. Atonia, basidovoide, diabetico, softalmo, flogosi, ipocalcio, liquor, laringo-buccale, nefritico, rachitoide, tubercolotico, glicemico, macatonia, etc. And also some psychiatric terms. Phrenologo, which has more or less the same meaning of psychiatry, or psychiatrist. Isterico, isteroide, sorry. Nevrotico, psicotico, schizophrenia, and epiphrenico, which is the case that we will discuss. It's also important to notice something that we can call the mock technicalisms. Gadda often creates neologisms, and these neologisms sometimes are parody of medical and psychiatric terms. I give you only one example, which is, as it is often the case, a compound, and in this case a recursive compound. istero, pappagallo, ecolalico, vulvaceo, sadica. If you don't understand it, it's better because it's a very, very misogynist stuff. Anyway, ecolalico, for example, it is a word that comes from psychiatry. Okay, we will now focus on the word ebefrenico. The adjective ebephrenic, is one of the most fascinating words for Gadda. In its different declinations, it reaches 13 occurrences in all Gadda's work. One can notice that it is a word obsessively used by Gadda, at least dating from 1938. The birth of the concept of epiphany and the corresponding word dates back to sorry. You see, Ecker, a German psychiatrist, isolated a new nosographic entity, and then the adapted clone, the ebephrenia, settles down in Italy. Cesare Lombroso, shortly after the first occurrence in German, employs it in a note the same year that was published in the Rendiconti dell'Istituto Lombardo di Scienze Elettriche. What's the meaning of ebephrenia? Since the 70s of the 19th century, the specific acceptation of the word ebephrenia had been widely used, especially in the scientific journals of psychiatry. Starting from the editions of the well-known Krappelin's treatise of psychiatry, which I mentioned, epiphany becomes, in the classification that will later impose itself, a variety of the same dementia precox that Bleuler will later rebaptize schizophrenia. Kraepelin wrote about the forma epiphrenica of dementia precox. Kraepelin, anyway, says that the concept in its origin, as Ecker conceived it, meant only youth psychosis. But in the Krappelin's systemization, it becomes a variety of of schizophrenia. At the time of the Italian translation of Kraplin's treatise, Eugenio Tanzi had already described very well the process in his trattato. Orbene, l'ebefrenia resta tuttora in psichiatria, ma ridotta al grado di una semplice varietà tra i casi particolari della demenza precoce, so a variety of schizophrenia. However, the meaning of ebephrenia will often, not only in Gadda, will often remain confined to the original use of Hacker, if not to a generic meaning of youth psychosis, as we will see later by analyzing the entries of some dictionaries. Gadda uses the word ebefrenico for the first time in his masterpiece, La cognizione del dolore, dating back to the short period between December 1938 and January 1939, third part of La cognizione del dolore, which was published in literary review. It was called Letteratura. I didn't translate because Gadda is nearly impossible to translate. Il figlio doveva concedere ai formaggini di entrare anche loro nel cerchio doloroso della percezione, eccetera. In quel caranseraglio di impedimenti di ogni maniera, cicale, cipolle, zoccoli, bronzi e befrenici, Giuseppi paleoceltici, battistine fedeli lungo i decenni, gozzo-cretine dalla nascita. Gozzo-cretine is not a neologism by Gadda, it existed in medical and medical language. Here, bronzi e befrenici simply means simply. Campane, matte, crazy bells, because bells are made of bronze. Made of bronze. The glory bells to whose battacchio clitoride have been sacrificed 500 pesos that could have mitigated the frost suffered by the little Gonzalo, the main character of this novel, exposed to the wind when he was a child. The second occurrence in the cognizione could indeed prove slightly more specific. We find it in the seventh part, which dates back approximately to 1940. You see, i riflessi del peone, the former, potevano facilmente presagire innanzitutto una mimica gesticolare facciale a carattere nettamente ebefrenico, accompagnata dai borborismi di un ventriloquio paleoceltico. Here, the almost sleep rhyme, rima sdrucciola, with the paleoceltico and the comic grotesque progress of this excerpt can lead to exclude a semantic individuation of the psychopathological type. Here it is more something comic use. Well, now we arrive to Eos e Priapo. In Eos e Priapo, the adjective epiphrenico begins to mark specifically Mussolini and his gang. And it has a generic meaning of youth psychosis. Yeah, I have to read because it's vorrei, e sarebbe mio debito, essere al caso d'aver dottrina di psichiatra e di frenologo, psychiatrist, di studio consumato in Sorbona, da poter indagare e conoscere con più partita perizia la follia tetra del the dark madness del Marco Aurelio ipocalcico dalle gambe a X, auterotomane affetto da violenza ereditaria, da descrivere e pingere in aula magna quei due mascelloni del teratocefalo e rachitoide babbeo e l'esoftalmo dello spiritato, le sue finte furie di tiranno che impallidiva uno sparo, da giuntarvi a tanta lezione un'altra ancora non meno vera circa la epifrenica avventatezza del contubernio e della corte pretoria of his gang. Ed altre circa la demenza totale di un popolo frenetizzato. E vorrei dovere pur essere un frenologo di quelli da 1000 lire a consulto, veduto che a valerci tanta distruzione delle vite e delle fulgide cose non ha nessuna altra causa o razio che la incontinenza alcolica di un bicchierante. Frenologo non essendo e tantomeno sifilologo, we have to read the sifilologo in the new edition, you read the sifilologo, farò il che potrò. Sifilologo because Mussolini has got often remarks was
he was affected by
syphilis.
Yeah.
Well, other occurrence in a typical list construction: quanti nevrotici, gli psicotici, i maniaci, gli ossessi, gli ebefrenici, i pazzi e quelli che per dire Garibaldi dicano ba 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 puarini, quanti gobbi, eccetera eccetera. Both examples are taken from the first chapter. The first one refers to a generic meaning of youth psychosis, whereas the second maybe can refer to a possible denotation of schizophrenia. What is more in the field of a typical chaotic, invective-like list construction. Another example dates back to 1945, once again devoted to the figure of Mussolini. E la paranoia, other psychiatric word, del mascellone, Mussolini, mascellone, ebefrenico e dei suoi ladri. Of his thieves.
It was a typical way to depict Mussolini
Mhm.
with the big part, the big chin, machete.
Yes, all the drawings,
Yeah.
especially in French and English newspapers. 2 weeks later, in Il Mondo, July 1945, Gadda reviewed Catullo's lyrics translated by Salvatore Quasimodo, Italian poet, and takes again advantage at a short notice of the same word, this time to qualify one of the aesthetic posture of the beloved poet. Gadda loved Catullo, and he didn't love Quasimodo at all. Le masse eccentriche della poesia di Catullo denunciano atteggiamenti parzialmente ebefrenici, arresto, retrogressione, puerizia o ipotimici depressivi. This is let's say a pre-Apolline meaning, for it refers to a regression to puberty, but it's not negative, as it was of course in the anti-Mussolini meaning. We have then a double occurrence that we can find in an important essay, 1949, Psicoanalisi e letteratura. Okay. You can see, nel Karamazov di Dostoevsky ci si è palesata, seppure di sfuggita, la crudeltà ragazzesca the youthful cruelty di Smerdiakov, il figlio spurio di Fyodor Pavlovich. Fyodor Pavlovich è, come ricorderete, padre di 3, anzi 4 fratelli. Una triste e terribile congiuntura di motivi, tra cui l'epilessia, l'eredità ebefrenica, il senso di invidia e di inferiorità nel confronto dei nati legittimi, fanno di lui un anomalo, un parricida, un suicida. E poi was the same say, dell'uomo adulto, della donna adulta, e si vestono per vero i pantaloni della gonna, ma la loro psiche è la psiche del cinquenne, 5 years old. Si vede ciò nell'Adolfo, of course Hitler, la belva ebefrenica, mozzicatrice di tappeti e jugulatrice, ahimè, di uomini, nella condotta dei suoi sgherri inferociti, la belva ebefrenica, so the ebephrenic beast. The word in this essay, both when it is used referring to Smerdiakov and when it qualifies in a similar way to that one already seen about Mussolini, the belva ebefrenica, the ebephrenic beast Hitler, seems to be devolved at emphasizing the regression, or in the second case, the fixation, not even to puberty, but definitely to childhood. However, it is also important that Gadda here alludes to the topic of one of the most famous Freud's aesthetic essays, that is Dostoevsky and Patricidio,
The murder of the father, Patricidio, Pater Mort.
although without resorting to a specifically Freudian terminology. And we have already mentioned a very loose relation, when not proper forcing, with the psychoanalytical vocabulary that is sometimes forced by bronzide French. This kind of views allows us to exclude the hypothesis according to which Garda would have drawn the word ebephrenia from his readings, from his Freudian readings. Anyway, in Garda you can see often a reprise of Freudian concepts, but twisted, as in the passage about Catullo. You see also ipotimici, depressivi. The problem of the degree of inheritance entailed by the fixation of the libido to a childish status is a theme about which Garda could certainly read in chapters 22 and 23 of the Introduction to Psychoanalysis by Freud. Garda held the French edition that was translated by Samuel Jankelevich. Anyway, this kind of Freud is forced because obviously this category has nothing to do with psychosis, epiphrenic or of nature, because it is a typical feature of the neurosis, the fixation of libido to a childish status. The only occurrence of ebephrenico in pasticciaccio dates to quel pasticciaccio avuto da Via Merulana, thoughtful mess of Via Merulana, dates to 1956. And it is within a comic grotesque fragment in which there are also several medical and psychiatric technicalisms. Rituale algolagnico, teatralizzato in una scena per turisti nordici più prevedibili per via di strappi, eccetera, eccetera, in un crescendo ebephrenico. Here again, the term is connected to the regression to puberty, and similarly, even in a more easily comic style, is employed in a pezzo di colore published in the Radio Corriere TV in the 1959. Stava già litigando col pappagallo Zack, signoreggiato a sua volta da una speciale forma di delirio di sindrome ebefrenica a soli 93 anni. It had 93, it was aged 93, but he suffered a youth psychosis. That should be the pun. This is maybe the only occurrence in which epiphrenico could refer to the specific meaning of a variety of schizophrenia. The meaning common in psychiatry, in 20th century psychiatry. And you can see it because it is near a word that has to do with schizophrenia, that is ecolalia.
Maybe explaining ecolalia, the repeating of the sounds.
See, repeating of sounds with phonetic logic without a proper meaning. However, the very last occurrence is in a dialogue, in a short dialogue, premised to the edition in volume of in a single volume of the Cognizione del Dolore, and thus dating back to 1963. And it shows again a generic use within a list gesti commedianti, rifurbi furbasti, gli epifrenici, le menti furiosi, etc. Always regression or fixation to non-attitude status. It may be of some interest that just over this passage we can find one of the most popular Lombroso's technicalisms, universally known, that is delinquente nato, nature-born criminal. The reading of all these passages may raise a question: where does Gadda draw the word epiphrenico from, and why does he use it so often? Perhaps it would be easier to answer to the second question. Gadda is often attracted by words that allow him to regain the etymological value, whether or not tightly connected to the current meaning of the word. And in this case, the etymological value of epiphrenia is, of course, the one of youth psychosis. From historical point of view, the problem is at first sight historical and intertextual, is very intricate. The word epiphrenia and its offshoots are widespread in the scientific literature, but they go also certainly beyond its boundaries to end in less specialized use. Also because Lombroso, criminology, the time used often medical and psychiatric technicalisms. Well, just a moment. Sì, sì. There can be also a link with Lombroso. Here you can see in 1950 pointing to genio e follia, to genius and madness, implicit but evident. Gli ingorghi nevrotici della loro attività biopsichica risultano essere più frequenti e più gravi che non quelli dei comuni nevropatici, cioè dei comuni mortali. Lombroso ha avuto il coraggio di affermare con chiaroveggenza: il genio è contrappesato dall'anomalia. So it could come from Lombroso. Also the word ebrephrenia. Even if Lombroso does not use often the word ebrephrenia, I think only 2 times. And anyway, when he used it, he's stuck on Ecker's meaning of youth psychosis. Lombroso or another psychiatrist, this can be a possibility. Yet there is a maybe more appealing hypothesis, though hard to prove. There is a single literary precedent of the use of ebrephrenia and its offshoots, and moreover with a higher frequency than in Garda's production. And this is in an author very close to Carlo Dossi. That was Gian Pietro Lucini. I can't explain now who Lucini was, but what is important to me is that Lucini wrote a book about Carlo Dossi. And this book was called L'ora topica di Carlo Dossi. This book that Lucini devoted to Carlo Dossi is full of occurrences of the word ebrephrenia. Dossi is indicated by Contini, first of all, as the most accredited among Gadda's forerunners, at least in Lombardy, while the relationship between Gadda and Lucini is not so sure, but we cannot exclude the possibility of a reading with some consent. But let's give a look to some textual evidences. You see, adolescenza ebrefrenica, passaggi inquieti dell'efrenia. He is talking about Carlo Dossi, Lucini is talking about Carlo Dossi, and the meaning is always youth psychosis. Here also ebefrenismo. La geniale ebefrenia. And some other occurrences. Some observations. Here the meaning of epiphrenia seems to be youth psychosis. However, the connotation is not negative as it would be later, as it will later be in Gatta. On the contrary, it intersects Lombroso's theory of the genius that was appreciated by Lucini and even more by Dossi. It is important to remember how the style of Lucini's writing could draw Gadda's attention. The same word is also in other books by Lucini, and there is a book against D'Annunzio, Anti-D'Annunziana. This could meet Gatta's interest. But I have bypassed since here a basic problem. The line Dossi, Lucini, Gadda constitutes, as a matter of fact, a critical proposal advanced by the great Italian critic Gianfranco Contini. That Gadda himself, at least at first, did not appreciate it. Getting to deny his readings of the group of authors belonging to the so-called Scapigliatura Lombarda. Contini made this critical proposal in some articles already in 1934 in a review of the Castello di Udine. Contini reiterates his thesis in introducing an anthology of the Scapigliatura piemontese e infatti, prolungando la linea Dossi-Lucini, si incontra soprattutto Carlo Emilio Gadda. And this time Gadda answered with satisfaction and without putting forward any defensive restrictions in a letter that we can read here. But the most important formulation of this thesis is in the entry espressionismo letterario that appeared in 1977 in Enciclopedia del Novecento, Treccani, always by Gianfranco Contini. Ma la parte svolta da Gadda sulla scena letteraria promuoveva un'urgente domanda di carattere storico: quali analoghi ha la funzione Gadda e di che discontinui segmenti la sua linea anticlassica si compone? La sua linea anticlassica, this is the famous, in Italy, famous Gadda function claimed by Contini. I precedenti locali di Gadda si faceva presto a rintracciarli, benché poco rilevanti ai suoi fini, nella scapigliatura lombarda conclusa in Lucini, you see Lucini, e nel giovane Linati. Linati is another author, a bit younger. Ma la scapigliatura lombarda, nei suoi autori più proverbiali, tutt'altro che calligrafica, ebbe almeno uno scrittore rilevante, certamente attivo su Gadda, in Carlo Dossi. Dall'Altrieri alla desinenza in A. La desinenza in A is the most important book by Carlo Dossi. Surely we cannot demonstrate positively that Gadda has read Lucini early, but at least we can say we have evidence that he had good knowledge around 1949, the date of the anthology. Gadda had a typical ambivalence towards these possible models, and so we have to examine the question not only considering what Gadda wrote, but also what emerged from the text, from the confrontation of the text. We can conclusions. You can conclusions. We can thus advance two hypotheses, one weak and one stronger. In the first scenario, we can think that Gadda heard the word ebefrenico in a context connected to psychiatry or to criminal anthropology, Lombroso, and so on. And it should not be difficult that this occurred, because in Milan, around the Circolo Filologico, the Politecnico, those who were born around the end of the century could still feel the inheritance of positivism, of 19th century positivism. On the other hand, the second scenario is more difficult to prove, yet more interesting. The use of ebefrenico could constitute a remarkable clue of Gadda's knowledge, at least dating back to 1938, the first occurrence of ebefrenico, of that Lucini's work that we mentioned, L'ora topica di Carlo Dossi. And so, giving also a sort of confirm to the line Dossi, Lucini, Gadda, that continue going to be particularly important. We leave, of course, the question open, but this problem, to me, is very fascinating. Also, both from a historical, culture, and intertextual point of view, because it offers a typical case in which intertextuality could prove culture, context, reading, and so on. So, thank you.